Good evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This is Local Acts Only. Take it away.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wizard. We are here today with the one, the only, my dear friend, Jonny Smith. How you doing, Johnny? And
I'm
as
good, how are you?
always, I am Jack, and I am welcomed with Joe.
That's a weird sentence, but thank you.
It was. I don't know why I said it.
You're very grammatically all over the place, but
Yeah.
I'm Joe.
So Johnny is a multifaceted musician, drummer, guitarist, bassist, keyboardist, singer. Am I missing anything?
As his Instagram bio says, multi-instrumental-ish. Instrumental-ish.
I think that's it.
That's it.
Five
You got the accordion the other day too.
accordion.
The little
You
toy
playing
one.
accordion?
No, the little toy one downstairs.
Oh yeah. The little first act.
So to start out the podcast, I feel like I could really go anywhere, but where I want to start is where you started musically, like the first instrument you picked up,
Yeah, how'd you become a unit?
an absolute unit.
So the first instrument I learned was drums,
I can tell.
and
You rip.
and yeah, I don't remember how old I was. I was probably like 10 maybe when I started playing drums. And then I had some like eBay kit that was like super cheap, and I just kind of learned like a 4/4 groove. And then like once I learned it, I was like, all right, I'm over it. And then I just like sold it to some classmate I had, like whatever at the time, elementary school. And like I would just play friends kits at that point. I kind of stopped actually. But then after that, I like picked up guitar. I got like one of those like first act or not first act, those like Squire starter kits. Like it comes with the amp, it's got the guitar, it's got the strap, whatever, the cord. And then yeah, that was pretty much it after that.
How old were you at that point for the guitar?
Maybe like 11, maybe.
So that covers drums and guitar. When did bass and like piano come into the forefront?
I feel like bass is just like kind of like guitar, but two less strings and thicker strings, and you
Yeah.
only have to play one note instead of a whole chord, so it's easier at that point. So like, I feel like anyone that could play guitar could play bass. Anyone.
Do you feel attacked, Joe?
I resent that, low-key. It's not that it's false.
I get where you're coming from,
We're just offended a little bit.
because you play bass mainly, right?
Yeah.
So like you don't think guitar is, but I think coming from guitar to bass is easier than going from bass to guitar, because you already know the chords. You could already play a single note versus bass. You're usually just doing one note. And
Well,
chords.
Yeah, absolutely. However, as a bassist and like someone who's bass is like their main instrument, I can always exactly tell who's a guitarist who picked up a bass. Like it's just something that like you can hear, I guess. But
Yeah, my bass technique is not, if a actual bassist watched me play bass, they'd be like, this dude doesn't play bass, and it shows because
no, I've seen you play bass. I'd be like,
You
all right,
do have
that dude
those
plays bass.
I
Nice
don't though,
bass
because I'll
lines,
like
too.
use a pick, and I feel like that's frowned upon.
It's not frowned upon. Anybody who says like, oh, picks are illegal in bass, they're just jaded.
And a lot of
people.
times, if I use my fingers, I'll just
Gatekeepers.
hold my fingers like a pick.
That's
So
also fine.
So at
People
that
do
point,
that.
anyway, it's still not proper. Like where you see those dudes, they're like,
It is a specific tone, though. You know.
Yeah, no,
Like-
yeah, exactly. That's is the thing. If you like playing with a pick, then you play with a pick, and if you like the tone that comes out, then you're set. You're good. But it's not like frowned upon. I mean, there are people who think it's like, oh, that's frowned upon, but I think that's dumb. Just play when you like.
I just personally don't like the tone of the pick, so when I think of playing bass, I think of with my fingers.
Yeah, wait till you play punk music.
Yeah, I guess. Have been yet to go down that road, but maybe one day.
Oh, it's a fun time.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, what led you to the decision of like learning multiple instruments? Because usually musicians who pick up like drums or guitar or something, they just steady on and they just plateau with that, and they get really, really good at that instrument. But you chose to branch out and learn a ton of different instruments, and then get really, really good at all of them. So like, what made you want to do that?
I think that was very sweet. I think you're talking me up a little bit too much, but appreciate it. But
the modest Jonny Smith, everyone.
I don't think it was a conscious decision. Like, oh, I'm gonna learn piano, and then I'm gonna learn drums, and then I'm gonna do this, and like keys I'm pretty terrible at. Bass, like I said, I'm not that, like, I'm whatever. But I don't know. It kind of just happened. Like, I learned drums, and then I guess I got bored because when I first picked up, like, drums, I'm like, oh, there's only, like, 5 things to hit. Like, there's nothing, like, I didn't understand the, like, complexity of it. And I'm still learning every day about it. But, like, I don't know. I feel like, I feel like I was just young and short attention span, so I was like, whatever.
You just jump back and forth between.
Yeah, so then it was just like, all right, guitar. But, like, guitar was the one that, like, I really feel like I, like, stuck with. Like, if I was to say, like, what I was when I was younger, I'd be like, oh, I'm a guitar player, obviously. But, like, even if you could, like, play a 4/4 Beatles beat or something, like, it doesn't mean, like, you're a drummer. But I guess, I don't know. And then, like, I would practice other people's kits, and I'd be like, dude, why did I ever sell that kit? I should have just kept at it, because if I kept at it that whole time, I would be so much better now than But yeah, no, I guess it's just a love of music. It's just like you want to learn. Like, I want to learn, like, saxophone. Like, I want to learn.
That's my next
I-
instrument.
Was I not
Yeah.
about to buy one of those the other day?
You were about to buy it. You were about to make a terrible decision. Buy a
Yeah.
terrible sax.
I was.
I want to learn the zurna. It's like a Turkish flute.
Yeah,
Like,
those
if
things
you
are
heard
so
it,
cool.
you would know it. It's a very iconic and, like, unique original sounding instrument. But it's just like that, like, microtonal sounding flute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got like the past week or two. I've gotten into researching and looking up, like, obscure instruments that not a lot of people, like, know about. And the Zurna came up.
That's sick. The zurna.
Yeah, that and like a Zhao flute from Japan. I believe I'm saying that right. They're huge looking, and, like, if you've ever watched the samurai movie, that's what you're hearing. You're probably hearing a Zhao flute.
I think I know what you're saying now. All you have to say was samurai movie.
So, speaking of the word microtonal, you recently purchased the microtonal neck, right? What does that mean to the viewers who don't know? Like, what's that going to do for your music?
A microtonal
Or how
neck,
it might change.
So,
like for a guitar.
yes.
Yeah.
So,
Whoa, I never heard of this.
in Western music, like, any song you would hear on the radio or any song you've ever heard, it's like 12-tone system. Basically, it's
12-tone
called-
equal temperament.
Exactly. And, like, so if you looked at the first, like, 12 notes of the guitar, like, they all have, like, equal distance, and that's, like, all the notes, A, B, C, D, whatever. But, like, that's just Western music. Like, in America around here, like, if you go to, like
European
Eastern
based
music and, like, in, like, Africa or, like, wherever, Egypt, whatever the fuck, there's, like, not a 12-tone system. There's, like, a 36-tone system. So there's, like if you ever played anything fretless, like, you couldn't play those notes on a traditional guitar. So it's like that concept is pretty much every quarter note is a note. So, like, picture the first fret and picture a fret in between those. But it's like every other fret, a quarter tone. But yeah, so you're pretty much hitting notes you can't hit on, like, a normal guitar or a normal bass, or, like, unless you had a fretless or something.
Are you planning to implement that a lot in your music, or is that just a side project kind of thing?
Probably, I would think so. I would think if I got it, I'd probably end up recording with it. Like,
Yeah.
Eventually, I would think.
You should look into getting a sitar. Then
I've played a sitar. They're
Like a
awesome.
traditional
It's
one.
weird because you fret them on the fret. Like, a guitar, you go in between the fret or whatever. Like, you go on the fret with a sitar. They're super cool, though. I don't know. Paint it black. Classic.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know you liked so much. You were interested in different musical, I guess, cultures, so to speak. As a drummer, do you also look into the different like time signatures or way different, like, Eastern cultures do rhythm? Because here in, like, Western music or European-based music, we all know that common time is 4/4. That's what we know it as, but it's not that really in Eastern music. They have a very different concept of rhythm. Do you look into that? Did you ever want to incorporate that into music?
I mean, I definitely like bands that use weird time signatures. And there's probably even some in Western music. Like, for example, Rush. Like, they're Canadian. And they're, like, prog rock gods. Like, if you listen to some of their songs, they have, like, 20-minute long songs that have, like, 8 chapters kind of in each song. And they're, like, all... It, like, hurts your brain. Like, whenever I listen to drums and it hurts my brain, that's when I'm like, damn, like, that's what I want to go after. Like, I want to be able to, like, break people's brain I'm like not there yet at all, but eventually I would like to go there. I don't know. I watch some of my friends play drums that are like really good, and I'm just like, it's so inspiring. It like makes you feel like a kid again, because like when like I was a little kid, like just like you like see Jimi Hendrix play guitar, and you're like 10 years old or whatever, and you're like, I want to do that. And then like you start to learn a little bit about it, but then you start to like understand a little bit, but then you still are like chasing that same feeling you had when you were a little kid. So it's almost like a pump of like nostalgia. Like it's almost like chasing the dragon or something, you know?
You're
Like the ultimate high that you're seeking, but it's just from like you ever have a jam? Like I know we only jammed a couple of times, Joe, but like Jack, there was a solid couple months where we were jamming probably like multiple times a week with Armin and stuff. And like shout out Armin, he's quarantining right now. Hope
shout
he
outs to Armin.
My boy Armin.
hope he's doing
my
well.
my
Solid.
teacher.
Very talented multi-instrumentalist. You guys need to get him on here because he's
We got him scheduled.
Actually, little announcement. Me and Armin are thinking about doing a separate weekly series for piano lessons.
Ooh.
If anyone wants to learn piano, check that
Armin
out.
will teach piano to the world. And
that would
everyone
be
will say-
incredible.
Something like that.
And it would be like public, like anyone could see it. It's not like
Mhm.
one of those like
Yep.
accounts you have to subscribe
up
to
for
or
or
something.
Well, I mean, it'd be nice if people subscribe to it, but it's free.
All you have to
just
do-
YouTube.
The
I'm
only
gonna
way
tune
you,
in because like I said, I'm very shitty.
all you have
at
to do to
keys,
get
I mean.
access to those lessons is subscribe to the Local Acts Only channel.
Yeah. Might end up being on Armin's, but
But you
either
still
way.
have to
But
subscribe to
yeah,
it.
you
then
still
you'll-
have to. It's a
If you click on Armin's page, Local Acts Only pops up, and you can only get through if you subscribe.
Exactly. Don't fact check this.
Just believe us.
Yeah. So with that guitar, where did you get the idea for that? Was it from listening to Eastern music, or is it from influence in Western music from Eastern music?
It was, I do like that type of music, but it was definitely because of King Gizzard. They did a microtonal album, and they got necks made like that, and like I ended up learning about it then. That was like 2017, I think, when that album came out.
Which album was that?
It's called Flying Microtonal Banana, and like they made their basses microtonal, they made all their instruments microtonal. But I just thought that was such a cool concept because it's just like, I don't know.
So different.
I believe
Yeah,
it's
so
pronounced
that was straight
banana.
up the inspiration behind that.
We
Did
can't
y'all
hear you, Wizzy.
Yeah, I was about to say, did Wiz just try to say something?
I believe it's pronounced banana. I'm sorry, banana.
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 Flying
yeah, with the
microtonal
Australian.
banana.
Yeah.
A lot of trouble hearing you, Wiz. You're very
Yeah, I got a really shitty mic.
Oh, you sound very ethereal.
And with that, I'm off.
He's actually
Wiz.
dead, and he's just like in our soul speaking.
He's
That's why it
omnipotent.
sounds so quiet. So on the topic of King Giz, you want to talk a little bit about your like influences musically? I know King Gizzard is like one of your favorites, big Frank Zappa guy.
I do love Zappa.
I can hear that.
I'm kind of all over the place. I mean, I do have like, I feel like I would say my roots are probably in like, you know, classic rock or something in that realm. I love the whole era of like the late 60s, like the flower power, like pop songs, like the Beach Boys. Love Brian Wilson. Love the Beatles. Love the Kinks. Like all that 60s stuff. Obviously, like Zeppelin, Hendrix, whatever. But then I also love like jazz. I also love even like hip hop. I'm kind of all over the place.
I was
honestly.
just about to
Yeah.
ask you about jazz because when you and I jammed one time, and I was talking to you, and you got behind the kit. I was like, "Oh, are you a drummer?" And you were like, "Nah, I'm not that great." And then we started
It's true.
jamming.
I'm not.
You are. We started jamming. You started whipping out jazz rudiments like it was nothing. I was like, "What? Where did this guy
There's
talking
like one fill I know how to do, and I learned it kind of recently. And then like once I learned it, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna do this one fill every time I can. And like I feel like I play with my drummer buddies who are like actually good and know what they're doing. They're like, all right, dude, like you're kind of overplaying. Like chill out. Like I heard the fill. It's cool. But
We
chill.
get it.
Yeah,
We get it, you vape.
exactly. That's something I'm trying to be more conscious of when I'm jamming is like listening rather than playing. You know.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Like, just because
that's
you
good
can,
advice.
just because you can do something doesn't mean you should
Yeah, we
necessarily.
talked about that a little bit with Cole Hallman,
Hallman.
Ugh! Sorry. But he said that like a big part when he's like jamming with his band is like just knowing when to not do anything.
Yeah.
I think it was Clapton that said it's not the notes you play, it's the notes you don't play. Exactly, yeah.
And then Charlie Parker, or I believe it was Charlie Parker, or it was Miles Davis. Said, don't play the butter note.
Dude, I was just telling my buddy about this the other day. I was literally like Miles Davis was George the one that was talking about that maybe.
George is always talking about something, so
Yeah, he told
the dude's always on
Miles was playing with young
I love you,
Herbie
George.
Hancock, and he said, "Don't play the butter notes."
Yep.
At least that's what he heard. But he actually said, "Don't play the bottom notes," because usually, if the bass line is usually keeping the bottom notes. So like if you're playing keys, you don't need to do the root note if the bass is already doing it. So like he was like, "Butter notes, the fuck," and then like I guess he figured it out, and then he became Herbie Hancock. I love that story so much.
Did you ever find that as a challenge in making like your music? You play all the instruments. Do you ever feel like you're overcrowding your tracks, or do you feel like it's easy for you to know when to play things and when not?
I feel like I don't know. It's kind of just like I guess stream of consciousness. So it's not almost. It's sometimes it's not like a conscious decision. Sometimes I'll just like record something and be like, oh, like I like this, and then I'll just layer stuff onto it. And
Just what comes out.
I mean, I'm still very new to recording.
Yeah, you said you've only been doing it for a year, right?
Less than a year. Yeah,
Less than a year?
I the first
When
little
did
EP I put out,
yeah,
that
when
was
did
like
that come
the tail end of July, so it's still like super new. I still have no idea what I'm doing, but
You could have tricked me.
fake it till you make it, right?
That's me and Armin's favorite
You know?
saying. The 70-30 rule. 70% bullshit, 30% knowledge. And then you're
Yeah.
good.
And you're set.
Yeah.
I'm at like 90-10 still.
Just walk or play as if you are the best player in the room, even though you're not. It's pretty much how it goes.
For sure.
Sure.
So with that like classic rock influence, where did you get that from? Was that like driving around in the car with your parents, or did you discover that on your own?
I want to say I discovered it on my own. I definitely do have like fond memories of like being a kid, like in my mom's car or whatever, in the back seat, and like Metallica, a really shitty Metallica CD is playing, like Load or Reload, and like I do love Metallica to this day. I don't like those albums though. I like the old like Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, like those are amazing, Master of Puppets. But like the newer stuff, Saint Anger,
Yeah.
We don't talk about.
we don't talk about Bob Rock.
What about their latest? Oh God,
I didn't Death Magnetic. I didn't.
No,
actually,
not Death Magnetic. The one that came after that one.
I didn't listen to it. I might have listened to like a track and skimmed through it, but I don't know. I feel like it just didn't do it for me. I don't know. I just love that like. I love like OG thrash metal too, like OG Slayer, like their first album, Show No Mercy.
You fuck
I've
with
just recently started getting into metal.
You
Sorry.
fuck with like Cannibal Corpse and
My brother is really super into them.
about like groove metal, like Pantera.
Yeah, I love Pantera.
I'd say for sure. I had a question about recording real quick, because I was having a conversation with my buddy Rob about this the other day. The only recording experience that I've ever had was with other people and like being in bands, and I feel like we all need that. So like whoever our main source of songwriting per se comes up with an idea and we all feed off of that. So it's like, oh, they're playing this, so my drummer will like play something, and then since I'm the bassist, I'll feed off of the drummer and I'll follow his groove, and then later in the revising stage of everything, we'll be honest with each other, like, oh, maybe you should do that fill, or like maybe change that note or whatever. But since you're by yourself, your only like kind of critique is yourself. So like, how do you, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Do you have to get around any of that? Like if you're listening to something, if you put it on deck for 2 weeks and then pick it up again, how do you like tell, I guess, like do things like, oh, is this bomb or is it not? Or do you show it to people? Do you listen to other people? Like what's that like?
So I've definitely showed other people my music, like when I'm making it, and I've definitely gotten like critiques, and I'm like, fuck, I shouldn't have even sent this, because it's almost like I don't know, you have to like teeter between doubting everything you do and then having 100% confidence. Like it's like those two sides, and you have to like be somewhere in the middle, because if you have too much confidence, you're probably gonna make something maybe not that good. But if you're questioning everything you do, then maybe you won't make anything at all, because you'll sit on it for months or something. And like, I don't know. I've always wanted to record music, and like ever since I was young, and I just thought you need like some crazy studio or something to do it. Like you can't do it yourself.
Just need a
like
fucking MacBook.
I don't know anything. And then like I think one day I just like, it was this past summer, I was just like, I'm just gonna like buy equipment and just try and do it myself, because like it's something I always wanted to do, just for my own satisfaction. Not even, and like I feel like the music I record, I don't even really like go in really like on like guitar or stuff, or like
yeah, it's very
or-
relaxed.
yeah, like it's more so like a vibe, I feel like. But
Yeah.
like sometimes, like I said,
Good one.
just if you know, just because you could do something doesn't mean you should. It's like some people I know that like know how I play. They're like, dude, I listen to your music and like, where's the shred at? I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I'm trying to like learn the recording still. Like I said, I'm still really new to it, so I feel like also doing something simpler is maybe easier. I don't know.
Mhm. Like
Yeah.
recording wise. Yeah,
You know,
I
the
already-
thing is about. I'm sorry, Jack.
No, you're good.
I was just gonna, the thing about being in a band is that you know for a fact these people are going to be brutally honest with you, because their
Yeah.
names are attached to that release too, and they all
Yes.
want it to be as good as it possibly can be. And then all of us have different ideas of what the best of it is, and we're not. But with you, I feel like, or not just you, but any solo artist, I feel like there's that chance where you're like, all right, I'm going to show this to people before I release it and get some feedback. But people, you know, they're your friends or your buddies or whatever, and you show it to them. There's that chance that like you'll be like, oh yeah, man, this is sick, and just like be really nice about it, or you know, supportive, which is always great. But is there genuine critique, or like,
I've definitely
ever had,
had
like, that
critique, but like the people that gave it don't really listen to the music I listen to. They listen to like Kanye and like, you know, whatever. Like my one buddy, I appreciate the critique, but he was just like, he listened to a track and he was like, yeah, this has like 0 replay value. Like it's super unique, but yeah, I would never listen to it again. And I was just like, I was like, okay, like cool. Like I don't take that shit like to heart. Like I honestly, I love critiques, because like when I jam with my buddies, like you kind of have to leave your ego at the door. Like if they're like, yo, you're too
Definitely.
loud, or like, yo, you're playing too fast, or you're falling out of time, you're going too slow. Like it's good to know that, because it keeps you like in check, and it's
Yeah.
good to, as like a musician, like be in check, you know,
Yeah.
like try and just be like, be like self-aware and not like sad, like, oh dude, this dude like said I was, it's like, no, it's like, okay, he's trying to tell you that so you don't make that mistake, you know.
Earlier when you mentioned someone listening to your music and then hearing you play for the first time, I had listened to your music before I ever heard you up here jamming, and I remember, and Eric was always like, Jonny Smith's like the most incredible guitarist, and I'm like, yeah, man, I listen to his music and it's like, doesn't seem too crazy. Like I really like it, but like it's not like doing complicated stuff.
Yeah.
And then I like heard you one time and I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. It's like, yeah, this is fucking insane.
Yeah, my music is very simple.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and like I feel like the best music is sometimes like
Yeah.
songs that I'm like looking to like learn and like want to play. I like look at the tabs and I'm like, oh, it's this easy? Like shit.
Yeah, it's like the first time you play like Iron Man on guitar, and you're like,
Mhm.
oh, it's really that easy.
Yeah.
really, is that all
okay.
he's doing? Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
power
oh,
chords.
yeah.
See, I'm like John though, where I love math rock and like swapping time signatures and stuff. Anything
Mhm.
again that I have to replay 20 times to be like, wait, and
John is crazy.
I'm trying to like count like what they're doing. and
love
stuff.
John.
I try like doing I like complex.
Shout outs to Joe from With Sales Ahead for being the biggest Sean fan in the world.
Yeah, dude. Joe loves all that. And
s-
intervals.
Yeah. So we
Dance Kevin Dance.
didn't completely finish the question earlier. So you said you had good memories of driving around in the car with music, like Metallica and
Yeah,
stuff.
so yeah,
But so how did you stumble upon the music that
Oh,
you
yeah, my
say
bad. I
you
derailed that question.
found? No, it was okay. It was you guys both.
we're all derailing. It's
Yeah.
okay. Stuff your sorries.
We're-
in the
we're-
second. But yeah, no, I do remember listening to shitty Metallica as a little kid, and I do just remember listening to like Nirvana and like Pearl Jam. Like my mom had like some like '90s shit, but I got when I was in maybe like 5th grade, that was on like the obsession. I had like 2 bands I listened to, and it was Metallica and Iron Maiden, and like that was it. And I had like every shirt at Hot Topic you could get of Iron Maiden and Metallica. That's all I listened to. That was it. And I thought I was like the coolest kid ever because I had a Ride the Lightning T-shirt with like a dude getting electrocuted, and you could see a skeleton on the back of the shirt in like whatever elementary school. But I remember actually I wore Appetite for Destruction, Guns N' Roses T-shirt to elementary school, and it has the skeleton of Slash, and he's smoking a cigarette, and they were like, "You have to turn it inside out. You can't wear that."
Oh,
in
no.
elementary
Whoa,
school."
really?
And
Just
I
for
thought
that?
I was like, "Yeah, I'm badass. That's right. I do have to turn it inside out."
That was always the goal, was to like have to get sent to change.
Yeah, yeah. It's either like a shirt with a middle finger. I was like, "It's a skeleton. He's already dead. The smoking can't even harm him." Like,
He's fine.
That's awesome.
So how did you stumble upon those other bands like the Beach Boys, Beatles, stuff like that?
I think I had a computer and access to the internet, and that's what I was like, oh my god, I could look up anything. But like, I don't know, I eventually ended up like I went through like almost like a 80s hair metal phase, or like a 80s like Iron Maiden, Metallica, but then I also went through like a Poison and like Cinderella and fucking really corny 80s bands.
Motley
Rat.
Crue.
Round and round.
Oh,
What
yeah.
goes around comes around.
Like you pretty much literally the roster of songs from Guitar Hero Rock the 80s.
Pretty much. I never had that one, but I do think there was definitely all songs that were probably on that.
Like Quiet
Yeah.
Riot.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes. But then I went into the 60s, and like that was when I like really felt at home, where I was just like, this is incredible. Like because there was so many good bands in the 60s, like specifically the late 60s. Like I feel like there's never been that amount of legendary bands like in an era, in those couple of 4 years, whatever, that were that like legendary, like the Doors, like all those bands, you know.
Yeah. So that's where you started. Right now, like, where are you at genre-wise? What you listen to? Like, what genres are you listening to? What are your like favorite bands or people now?
I just moved recently to New Brunswick, and I'm living with 7 other musicians, and they're
Sounds like heaven.
some crazy jazz cats. So I've been listening to some more jazz lately and opening my mind to the butter notes and all that stuff. But yeah, jazz is crazy. I feel like that's the genre I never really tackled. And like
Jazz
well, there's
rules
definitely
all.
a lot of genres I didn't tackle, but like jazz is always one I wanted to like be solid at.
Yeah,
Like, and I feel like now is the time to start learning, especially because
you're around it all day.
they're like, "Oh, you guys want to jam?" And then I go downstairs and like I feel like I'm in the best jazz band ever, and I don't know what to do. And I'm like, "Oh fuck!" like,
Like, oh, shit.
quick,
That's
let me
how
do a
I
blues
feel.
lick real quick. Fuck.
That's how I feel jamming up here. I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Dude, jazz is a high fucking climb, dude. I've been like,
There's no wrong notes. That's the vibe. Apparently.
Nah,
you
but
can play
kinda.
anything and it sounds right.
you gotta play the wrong note at the right time for the right reason. It's weird. But like, I've been getting serious into practicing and playing jazz for like 2 years. I have not progressed. it's fucking weird. It's crazy hard, man.
Jazz on bass is cool too. You just do a lot of walking around.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, that's more like early like surf jazz or like surf rock things. Like like if you're watching old 60s movies and a ton of greasers get into a fight at like a milkshake bar or some shit. Like yeah, that's the shit you'll hear. Some dude gets smacked up in the jukebox and that shit starts playing.
Yes.
But yeah.
I feel like I could see you like being in movies and like playing a part like that.
Me?
Yeah.
Because I'm Italian.
You kind of
Maybe.
do look like a
Is that
greaser.
racist?
Or
No.
like you could be a greaser.
I don't know. I'll do it. Okay, who wants to pay me? I'll do it. What did you say, man?
So recently you've been on a jazz kick. Anything else that you're really into right now? Like what you mentioned saying that there were genres that you didn't tackle, or there genres that you don't listen to?
I don't listen to too much current music. I feel like not too much that you'd hear like on the radio. No, I feel like so many people listen to like terrible rap. Or
Yeah.
Mumble rap, whatever. I never really got down with that. I don't
Nope.
really listen to EDM.
Rest in peace, MF Doom, the last
I
Yeah,
Real
rest in
rapper
peace.
alive.
I never got into him, but
I'm not talking about.
I think it's crazy too that he was dead for 2 months before his like wife released that he had passed.
Wasn't it? Did you say it was in October, Joe?
It was
He died
October
on Halloween.
31st.
On Halloween.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
I'm still depressed.
and
I'm not
they
talking
still
about
don't know how.
I can't even
how
speak
it
words
happened.
about it. I'm
Yeah.
so upset about MF Doom. What a king. Absolute legend.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask real quick back, like just on the jazz note, you mentioned that you
Jazz note.
on the blue note, you mentioned that you want to learn saxophone. Any jazz saxophonists? I believe that's the right word for them.
I
But
think the reason I want to learn sax is because of like Steely Dan, maybe.
oh, really? You listen to like John Coltrane or Charlie Parker?
Not really. No.
You definitely should. It was like the two biggest.
I mean,
kings of
obviously, I
saxophone
know
and
who
jazz.
Coltrane is, but like, I don't go. I mean, I just know what a saxophone sounds like, and I
They just
want to learn
add-
how to
Also,
play it.
It just
listen-
adds so much. It's like
So-
ridiculous.
Saxophone's like the coolest instrument. Listen to Moonhooch too.
Oh, I do listen
Dude,
to
I
Moonhooch.
love Moonhooch.
It's like a 3-piece, right?
Three
From,
piece
like
is
New
a-
York.
It's a
yeah,
drummer
no,
and
I
two
fuck with
saxophones.
Moonhooch actually
They're
a lot.
So
There was
fucking
one CD
gnarly.
where it's like a subway
yeah,
on it.
that's their self-titled.
I've listened to that album a lot. They're actually really good.
That absolutely.
I forgot I listened to
Two
saxophone players.
units.
Too many zoos.
Too many zoos
Too
are
many zoos.
so good.
Yeah, no. I know that.
Dude, that shit is gnarly. They came up in the New York subway, really, I think.
Moonhooch.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, Moonhooch, I think, but also Too Many Zoos.
Yeah, them too.
Saxophone, trumpet, and like a bass drum with like everything you could think of strapped to it.
Horns are just incredible.
And then
Yeah.
if any other horn aficionados, hit up Thank You Scientists.
Oh,
Or hit Killer on horn section. And probably a lot of others too.
don't get me talking about Thank You Scientists right now, Joe.
Oh, we won't.
That's a secret.
That's our secret to keep.
So, Johnny, you've played with a lot of very talented musicians. You want to go through a little bit of your like band history
Sure.
and like when you started in bands?
So the first band I guess I was in was in 5th grade. I like did the talent show and I played Damn It by Blink-182 with no vocals. Or wait, no, it wasn't Damn It. It was no, I did that in the 8th grade talent show with no vocals. There was what song? It was Warning by Green Day, which they just steal
Knew
it.
it was gonna be a Green Day song.
They just steal it from the Kinks picture book. It's dun 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 dun. They literally stole the riff from the Kinks picture book. Look it up. It's the same exact riff. Same key too.
What are you
Couldn't
gonna
even
do?
change the key. I'm
That's
just gonna
fucked
talk
up.
about it.
Aren't
'cause
all
it's-
songs
let's
just
let's
aren't all songs just stolen from other songs? Huh?
I kind of do believe there is no such thing as originality.
No.
Like I do think
everything comes from something.
everyone is inspired from something, and it's like your brain's a sponge, and it picks up things you like, and then you just try and replicate those things. And like at the same time, though, there definitely was someone to be the first person to do something. You know?
Yeah, I always thought it would be really cool. I mean, it's not like a possible thing, but maybe in the future you could run like a computer program or something to do it. But like to have someone never listen to any music or hear any music and then just
Fresh ears.
give them instruments and like see what would happen.
That's an interesting
what they would
concept,
create.
Actually, I've never thought about that. What would?
Yo, NASA, come on.
Let's get on that. Put someone
Elon
in an
Musk
isolation
is probably
chamber.
Elon
working on it.
Musk.
I've been reading a
Get
lot
on
about
that.
him lately. Insane life this guy leads. It's insane,
Insanity.
dude. He SpaceX. They're going to Mars. He said by 2050, he expects 1 million people to live at Mars. That's
Really?
That's
Wow.
not that far away. If you think about it, we'll be alive for that.
Yeah.
That's
nuts.
A million people on Mars.
Willing, hopefully, we'll be alive for that.
That's an interesting concept. Not the Mars thing. The
Well, I mean,
even
the
though that
Mars thing
also
is cool,
interesting.
too.
The Mars interesting is very interesting, but the idea of someone who has never heard or listened to music to give them instruments. Does that mean you'd have to like isolate a newborn child
Yeah,
for many
that's-
years?
Yeah, like just in a vacuum, basically.
That's-
Not like a literal vacuum.
No,
but like,
but
I think they'd have some like PTSD. I don't think. They'd wanna,
Oh, exactly. That's why I said it's not possible to do, and it
I
has
don't
to be
think
like
they'd
a
want to pick up a
computer.
guitar, dude. They'd want to like Like, why am I in a vacuum?
Why am I?
Was with it, but yeah, no, I thought that would be a cool like simulation kind of thing.
However, you know what's
See what
interesting?
would- see what
You
would
meet
come out.
someone new sometimes, and you talk to me like, "Yo, so what kind of music you listen to, or what kind of bands you listen to?" And those people will be like, "Nah, I don't really listen to music." Like,
Yeah.
isn't that just like maybe it's just me?
I'm like,
But like, how do you not listen to me? Even if you're not into music heavily, I feel like everyone listens to music.
everyone's
but
got
there-
something.
Yeah, but there are people who are just like, nah, I don't like I don't like music, or people are like, I don't listen to music.
I've
How
met
is
a lot
that
of
possible?
people that it's not the same, but like I've met a lot of people where they're like, oh, I just listen to everything. I was like, all right, well, you have to have like some genre that's like near and dear to you, and they're like, no, I like everything. I'm just like,
You're lying.
okay,
See, like, I could say that, but like EDM is like that's my bread and butter.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I learned something
I'm a
about Jack
festival
today.
junkie.
I mean, I knew you liked it.
Look
I
at
just
me.
didn't know that was your bread and butter. You look like
You're dressed like a festival king.
Crocodile Dundee's wardrobe guy.
I don't have my candy on. Usually I have my candy on.
Does that mean you're like jewelry?
Is that slang for jewelry?
Like
It- no,
your
it's-
ice?
It's
You
those
got your
little like
ice?
fucking child bracelets. Like
Oh.
little fucking
pop rings or
no, like with the letters and stuff.
Like
on
ring
'em.
pops, dude.
yeah, ring pops.
I'll send you a picture. You'll know when you
The
see
little
them
thing looks
because
like
I wear
a
'em every
lipstick.
day,
The
pretty much.
push up.
Something like that.
My bread and butter is a tie between probably like jazz and emo. Two vastly different
When
genres.
I like funk a
emo
lot,
means
too.
emotional. So when you say emo, what is that?
Like emotive hardcore. So like classic bands would be like bands like Sunny Day Real Estate, the Get Up Kids. More modern bands would be like I mean Joyce Manor is kind of on the fence. You can, but then like Algernon, Cadwalder, fucking Tiny Moving Parts.
Remembering Sunday. What's that? Who's that song by? You know that song?
Remembering Sunday. Oh my god.
That's like
All my friends are gonna hate me for struggling to remember the name. I don't. It's fleeting
Yeah.
me right now.
yeah, whatever. I'll look later. We were in the middle. We derailed. Where did we derail?
I
from?
don't know, man. Who cares?
Oh, bands that where so you started at the
yes.
So
you
from
get into
that-
jamming with
from
other
that,
with
we
other
s-
musicians,
you started at the talent show in 5th grade.
5th grade talent show.
Where'd you
That
go
was
from
playing
there?
Blink.
we played Warning. That was with this kid Michael Benoit, or no, Michael Benoit. It was spelled like Benoit. It was Benoit. Good kid, but yeah, I don't know. We I guess that was kind of like a short-lived. It was kind of like a one-set wonder. We did that set, and then that was kind of it. Like I went over his house a couple of times, we practiced, but nothing really came of it. I really wasn't in that many bands, honestly. Like I was in I want to say I was in like one band. I feel like an actual band.
Well, played with many band or a few bands off the top of my
Like,
head.
did you fill
or,
in,
or,
have
or
chop
people.
sessions with?
So I played in a band called Barren Praxis, and
That's your band.
that's not my band.
Or well, you're in band practice, or you play with
I
them?
was in Barren Praxis, but I would say that was probably the only band I really like played in. If my memory serves me correctly, I really didn't play in many bands.
You played with the legendary Crust as well, right? Or filled in?
I filled in,
Yeah.
like Christian from Crust. He was out of town. He was like in Vegas, living his life. So I like filled in for like a show or two for them before.
And
Those are just my homies. So it was like
Yeah.
it was cool because I already liked their music. So they're like, "Oh, you want to fill in?" It's like,
hell
yeah, of course. Like,
So, on the topic of Bobby Shock and another band, PC Glider is a thing, correct?
PC Glider. It was in like the birthing process. Like it was.
It was aborted.
It was kind of we kind of had an abortion. It was.
Is that okay?
I don't know. I mean, it's there.
It was so. It
No, we
was
can do
like.
about it now.
It was like.
Once it's done, you can't change.
Pro-choice, you go, girl.
What the hell was that with?
So PC Glider is an aborted fetus, pretty much, because we were jamming. We had like some songs. It was gonna be me, Bobby, Shock, and Mikey Galvin, and we came up with like an album idea, and we had some tunes, and then like I don't know. Kind of stopped practicing, and then Mikey was busy getting his master's degree. So respect the grind. He was working, getting his degree.
Mad respect.
But he ended up kind of just being like, "Oh, I'm moving to Florida." So he was like, "If you want, we could do it remote. We could like, so that would be like email method." So that's kind of just on the back burner right now.
Yeah.
So we'll see if anything comes of that.
Maybe one day.
I have also played with like Bobby Shock on like an album. Like and that was like, I guess that was my first time recording on an album where I like, but it was all through email. So like he would like send me the track without the guitar, like record whatever, and then I would like record it and send it to him, and he would like usually just be like, yeah, this works, like whatever, and that was that. But I guess that was my first endeavor in recording.
Gotcha. Oh yeah. When was that?
Actually, it was, I think 2 days ago was the 1 year anniversary of when it came out. So that was before I like ever put out like my own stuff.
What was that?
It was called In the Box. It was
What's the?
Is that an Alice in Chains reference?
Crust or is it?
It's a Bobby Shock like solo record, but he had like me on guitar, this kid James Carolyn on drums, his wife Elena on vocals.
Yeah, I saw they have a project that they're working on too, right? Together.
Garden Bed, yeah.
Yeah.
They
I've seen that. It seems pretty cool.
Bobby on drums and like it might be different each song, I think, but I think it's like Bobby on drums and his wife on bass and vocals.
At least
they both do vocals.
At least I'm not like completely under the rock. I just like peeked out of it.
I'm under the rock. I honestly forgot it happened until I like saw a post the other day. I was like, oh, the 1 year anniversary. I was like, oh, I forgot we did that.
So are there any other artists or people that you're thinking about collaborating with in the future?
I've talked to Bobby, but like we were talking about doing an album in 2021, so that might be a thing. A little like collab. I've never really collaborated except for like Bobby's putting out an album this year, 2021. I'm gonna be playing on one of the tracks. I already recorded it and stuff, but like, and this kid Jem is playing the drums on it. Really good drummer. But yeah, now Bobby, it's cool because he was like solo guy for a while, kind of like recording everything, and then he was just like, why don't I just find like a good drummer and a good guitarist and just like send them the stuff, and like, so now he still like composes it all, but he's still his stuff. But it's interesting because it's like, if I was to send, I don't think I could do that. Like I wouldn't be able to. I couldn't send someone my track and be like, all right, record on this, because I feel like I would be like
critical of it.
I feel like I'm not even critical. I feel like I'm like I've showed, like you were saying before, you ever showed people your tracks. I've showed them tracks, and they're like, yo, let me record vocals on this, and I'm like, it's kind of like it sounds very selfish, but it's like, oh, it's my own song. Like I kind of want to do it myself.
Yeah, like you already have a
even my
vision
buddy
for it.
Mikey G, that was in PC Glider. He's one of the best drummers I've ever seen in my life. And he's like, yeah, like let me record drums on this track, and I was just like, no, I'm like, sorry, like I don't. It's just like I would rather do it myself, even though he would definitely do a way better take, and it would sound 100 times better. I'd rather do it myself, shitty, and then learn from it. You know?
Yeah, that just means
Like, have it be you.
That just means you're a very definitive and probably decisive musician or songwriter. Like, since it's your creation or you came up with the original track, then you probably already have an idea of how you want the drums to sound like. And also, as you said, it's actually pretty wise that it's like a learning experience if you like.
Yeah, I feel like I'm almost like possessive of it. It's like I don't want.
It's your baby.
It's like I don't want you double dipping. I don't want you fucking double. You already ate off that chip. Don't dip it in.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
However, and just in my personal experience, I've always been very wary of musicians like that. However, nothing against you, obviously.
No, I mean,
in a band setting, obviously you're a solo artist, so it doesn't matter.
That only comes like across when I'm like recording. Jamming is like, it's different, you know. It's like a totally different vibe, and I feel like it's like the best of both worlds, because like I could like record my own stuff with whatever vibe, but then I could like jam with my homies and then just like let it all out or whatever.
But like as a solo artist, like you're the only person who needs to like it, like for the
when so like if it sucks, it's all on me. If it's
not even that, like it's just like if someone could be like, yo, here's something I wrote, maybe you could throw it on there if you don't like it. It's like, nah, this is my song, I don't like it, so I'm not gonna put it on there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
that's definitely closed-minded in a sense. I guess it's just like I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like, I mean, I completely understand it. Like, it's the song is your vision, and you want when you make a song, you're making your vision come to life. So you don't always want someone else's vision in your vision, because then it's no longer your vision.
yeah,
Exactly.
of course.
Yeah, I mean, I would if I was like collaborating with someone.
Yeah.
Like I'm always down to collab,
Exactly,
obviously,
yeah.
but like I just, if I was like trying to do my own thing, it would just be like, oh, this is for this project. Whereas like if you want to do this project, that could be a separate
Yeah,
entity or some shit. I
it's
don't know.
two different situations. Like that mindset. Like if you were just like a member of a band, like if you were in a 4 or 5 piece band or whatever, that mindset would probably start a lot of arguments and fights and whatnot. But as a solo artist,
Oh, definitely.
you're fine. Like,
But
of course,
yeah,
you should be the
I
only
said,
person
I
who-
played in like one band, so
fifth
and like when
grade.
I was in that band, like I feel like we would all be cohesively like aware of each other and open-minded and listening to one another's opinion and taking
Yeah.
it and like respecting their opinion and coming to conclusions. But yeah, I don't know.
So, with that, I just want to ask real quick about the mentality of like playing everything, like playing all the instruments. Is there someone that you look up to who did that, who you wanted to like be like or like emulate, kind of, or who would that be?
Yeah, so like Ariel Pink, Tame Impala, Mac DeMarco, all those guys, like they record everything themselves, and I just always thought that was like, I always like enjoyed that because it's like, oh, like if they could do it, there's a normal guy, like why can I do it? And it's just like inspiring, like, and it made me like inspired to like, because I always wanted to record myself, but then like to see someone else record, I'm like, wait, this is all one guy, like that's cool. Like I just always was like fascinated with that idea, and like I don't know, I think that's such a cool concept. Like the OG Godfather of that is like our Stevie Moore, and he came out in like the 70s, and he was just like he recorded his first album. It was all on one microphone with like a little cassette tape deck or whatever, like drums, bass, guitar, all the vocals, everything. But I just always thought that idea was like super. I don't know. It just like sucked me in or something. I just thought it was sick.
You're a big Prince fan also, right? I think you were playing.
Yeah,
some
I do
Prince, like,
love
a few
Prince,
weeks
yeah.
ago.
The artist formerly known as
The
Prince.
artist formerly known as Prince. My apologies.
Yes, he should apologize. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Another. Let's not talk about dead musicians today. Joe's gonna.
Yeah,
call me.
I think Joe is still ruminating about MF.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You can talk about Prince. That's not. I don't care.
He's like, no, I accepted Prince. I moved on.
Yeah. So we also share a love that you bestowed upon me, King Gizzard.
Yes,
the
I
Lizard
feel like I
Wizard.
showed you them,
You did.
and you
I
fell in
heard
love.
people talk about them before, but it was mostly you talking about them, and then you were the one to like
Force them
have
onto
me
you.
sitting down, like couch locked. Listen to this, and I'm very thankful for it. When did you discover them?
Let's see, 2015, 2016 maybe. I just think they're super sick because they put out so much material, and like you always hear quality over quantity, but like there was like this one year, I think it was 2017, when the Flying Microtonal Banana came out. Shout out Eric for that. But yeah, they put out like 5 albums in 1 year, and I was just like, and they were all amazing, and like all had their own concept, and I was just like, dude, like I don't know, just being that productive with like music is always also fascinating. Like Zappa too. I mean, he just dedicated his whole career to just making music, and he has like 70 plus studio albums. Like that's insane. Bob Dylan too. He actually just sold his whole
Yeah, I saw.
his
I
whole
heard
like
that.
discography, or I don't know how you would word that.
It like wasn't even for that much too, right?
I think it was for a lot.
When you think about Bob Dylan's whole discography, like
I think the number I heard was 300 million. I could be wrong.
That sounds like
then you
that
also
sounds
think of
solid.
Bob. How do you put a price on someone?
Exactly.
That's like putting a price on someone's life.
I
I
mean,
mean, look
that-
at his discography, and he's like, "This is my whole life.
yeah,
When it comes to
you're like,
music,
This
you
is
put a
my
price.
whole
soul.
fucking life. I dedicated my life to this, and here it is. And 300 million. There's your price.
When it
There's your
comes
price
to when it
tag.
comes to music, a price is put on that shit every day.
Yeah.
It's like your music is just worth something to people.
Unless you're on Spotify and making a cent every 10 years.
But like, and you can also,
Soon.
it's fine because I'm gonna bring it up. But like,
It's so weird because, like, to be an artist these days, you have to be a social media guru. You have to
I
make
know.
TikToks,
I don't
and you
know
have to
how it
fucking.
happens.
And it's just like, when did it become that? Like, when there? I feel like it was such a weird transition. Like, I feel like it happened so suddenly, where it, like, was never like that, and then like all of a sudden it was,
yeah.
and like where there's just some dude drinking cranberry juice, bombing a hill down the road, listening to a fucking tune. And then he becomes famous, and like Ocean Spray buys him a truck. It's just like, what the
Jeez.
fuck?
And, you
Like,
know-
that's like the world we live in. You could be a overnight sensation. Any fucking video or whatever. Like, I guess it's like a blessing and a curse. But I think social media is the total demise of our generation.
I think it is too.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be the demise forever.
If you, for some whatever reason, if you don't have like a personality that people want to be around or look at, then you're not going to be successful. Like, that's not true, but that's what's being painted for us through social
And
media.
part of me
through
is like,
Instagram
oh,
and
dude,
stuff.
well, you're talking shit on social media. Why don't you delete it? And it's like, I do want to delete it, but then I realize if I released a tune or something, how would I let someone know? Oh, it'd have to be social media, right? Like,
Yep.
technically, no.
Hey,
It
I'll
doesn't
do it
have
for
to
you.
be. Doesn't have to be. Exactly. Everyone else has it. So maybe I just came to a like epiphany just now. I can delete it because everyone else has it.
Dude, I'll manage your social
I'm just
media
gonna have
for you.
Jack be my
I'll do
Yeah.
agent.
To be fair,
I'll be
that's
your
how
agent.
that's how we have like people who have jobs now. Like, people actually
I'll
have
charge you
careers
nothing.
based around social media because they're
Yeah,
good
no,
at it, and,
they're like
people
they're
run other
they're-
artists like
the
musicians
guy
make
that
those,
was here
social
with
media pages.
Danny Clinch's son, Max.
Yeah.
Wasn't he a
Yeah, doesn't he run
I don't know what the term is, like a
I don't know, manager,
manager.
marketer?
Oh, well, I mean, he does all the Bailey.
What? No, what's
shit
the
and
one
stuff
thing?
like that.
Influencer.
Yeah, but like, doesn't he run all the social media pages and stuff?
I mean, I don't know if he runs all of them. I know that he runs the Bailey Boys one.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Pretty
that's
much.
his. I don't. Maybe I'm not giving enough credit. Max, if you are listening, come defend yourself.
We just want an excuse for you to come back, dude.
Yeah, honestly,
He's gonna come.
please.
So how do you fare with social media? Like, you mentioned it a little bit before, like deleting stuff and
I've
announcing that
I've
you
like
released
deleted it on and off a couple times. I do think it is like it's crazy because like 90% of people like sleep with their phone within X amount of feet from them, always. And I used to like set my phone across the room to set my alarm, so then it would force me to get out
get
of
up.
my
I
bed.
do that every day.
But like it is so weird that like the first thing you do when you wake up, like it literally is embedded in your brain. It's like, let me check my phone, let me check my Instagram, let me check my Snapchat, let me check this, and it's just like, why? Like, why do you need to do that? Like, it doesn't. And then you kind of become consciously aware of it, like, oh, I am addicted to this, and I literally just spend hours scrolling through Instagram looking at videos that are in some algorithm where it's like, oh, this dude likes skating, like he's gonna love this clip. So then I end up watching that clip, and then it brings me to another clip. And the same thing can happen on the internet. Like, you go down the
YouTube.
Wikipedia
Oh, jeez.
wormhole
I've
where
never been there.
I started by reading about Elon Musk, and then I read about SpaceX, and then I read about Tesla, and then and it's just, you just keep whatever. But like, I don't know, internet is a scary and dangerous place, and you should just stay away from it because it
Yeah.
has no fucking benefit.
I feel like
I mean,
Just kidding, because you
Okay.
can get Wawa delivered.
and
Yes.
you can
That's
listen-
kind of
And-
cool.
and
you can order
listen
Taco
to
Bell.
local acts only on YouTube.
You can,
Which is soon
you
Apple
can.
Music
I
and
don't know.
Spotify.
I have a love-hate
Maybe
relationship. It's like I wish it never existed, but I still appreciate the things that I like on it.
Yeah.
I don't
yeah.
know. There's
I
the
f-
good and the evil with it.
I feel
Mhm.
like social media just kind of taps into and feeds off of everyone's inner insecurities.
Yeah. I
Well, yeah,
it's
because you
more
could
like-
just paint your life in this perfect world and be like, yeah, this is what my life looks like, man. This is my Instagram, like, da da da.
Yeah.
And it's just like all those people that you think are like super happy that are on Instagram, that are like maybe like famous hot girl models that didn't even do anything. They're just hot and they're famous. They could be like really depressed, and they probably are. And they literally get like you got to think chemically what it does to your brain. Like you see a like on your phone, and like serotonin and dopamine is like getting shot out of your brain.
Gotta turn the
Literally,
notifications
oh dude,
off.
I got 10,000 likes. Oh my god, dude, my ego is soaring right now.
But then
It's like, and we're like the guinea pig generation of that. Like,
think
that
about
what's
didn't
gonna
exist for our
happen?
parents.
What's gonna happen at the end of this?
I think
I know,
people are gonna
right?
be socially awkward, very socially
a
awkward.
lot of them already are.
Yeah,
Very
everyone
bad.
like
Because they can they like
Yeah,
I
sure.
didn't interact with you, but I got your number, so I could like text you what I actually wanted to say to you, but I couldn't because I was too scared or something. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's just like, I don't know. It really is. I think the downfall of our society. I don't
But
know how we steered over here, but
Think about how like
we
like
did
the
a
reason-
hard K turn.
Money.
The reason why you like get up in the morning and you're like check your like Instagram, I think, is probably because you like want to see what happened. Or, like,
You
what
want to see how
guys,
many
like,
local acts?
Everyone
only-
has
how
FOMO.
many-
like you want to like
How many fucking things are on my story?
or,
yeah.
like what happened last night that I didn't get invited to type thing, or like who's or like I don't know. I feel like there's a weird insecurity thing about it.
Definitely,
And, like,
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. What did I miss?
I try to get into the habit. I fall out of it a lot. I'm currently out of it. This morning I woke up and went on my phone, but the first like hour or two, just like no phone. Just like read, play music, do something that's not staring at the screen.
But don't you play music out of your phone?
Play like play instruments.
Let me
Oh,
ask you guys a question. So, if you hear a new song that you want to listen to, what's your go-to way of listening to it?
Spotify.
But what audio source are you using?
Through what?
Headphones? Are
Yamaha
you in your car?
HS5s.
I'm sorry.
Yamaha HS5s.
Those are headphones or speak? No, those are
Those are,
speakers.
monitors.
Yeah, monitors.
I
Yummy.
just have a fucking JBL or like a little Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah, I have
that
a
like
little
the
JBL
circular guy?
Flip too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have one of
Okay.
those too. That
I was
that's,
just curious. I was
that's
just
what
curious.
I use more often because it's just easier. But
I feel like
if I want to
most
really
people
hear
do
something,
listen through their phone speakers.
Oh yeah,
A lot of people.
I do it a
That's
lot.
fucked up, in my opinion.
They could be worse, but they're pretty fucking bad.
Could we take a urination
Cars.
station break?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
In the space station. I'm just gonna freestyle
pee.
things that rhyme with space station the entire time.
So I also have to urinate. But
You guys should hold each other and go to the sink
I knew you weren't gonna finish that.
to you know.
Been a minute since it was just Jack and I.
Ooh.
There was. Yo, I smoke Cheerios so I can stop eating cigarettes. What do you do to be healthy?
All right, so welcome back, boys. The next thing that I wanted to talk about was I want to dive into your music a little bit. You want to talk a little bit about like your writing process as far as lyrics? Like
Lyrics?
is that a before thought or an afterthought?
Lyrics always come last.
Yeah?
I find it's
General rule of thumb.
I've
noticed.
If you tried to write a song with lyrics first and build a song structure around that would be way more challenging than to have a song structure already mapped out and then just spitball some lyrics over it. Lyrics always come last, but I mean it could be fiction or it could be nonfiction. So like it could be maybe something that actually is personal to me. Or it could be something where it's maybe like my friend and I'll write it from like their perspective. And like yeah.
Do you lean more towards one side?
Probably like third person omniscient point of view.
Like a narrator's kind of vibe.
Yeah, like almost some bull crap
Telling a story?
like that or something. I don't know.
All right. So what are there any specific songs that you'd want to like dive into and talk about their lyrics, like where you got the inspiration for? Or is it like too personal of a thing to
No, I could totally talk about my lyrics. Like there's a song I made called For Now, and that's about like my brother that passed away. Like and that's like very obviously very personal. And like
I didn't know about that.
not
song.
many people like know that. I think
Yeah.
But like I don't
Yeah.
know. Sometimes it'll just be like I said, fiction where it's just like a made up song and the lyrics actually don't even mean anything. But
Nice timing, Joe.
what happened?
This thing ringtone went off.
Oh, but yeah, I don't know. It's sometimes it's really personal. Other times it's like not so much. Just depends on the mood I'm in, I guess. I feel like whenever you record, it's the mood you're in, you know. So if you're feeling sad, you're probably gonna record something sad. If you're feeling dandy and good, you're probably gonna record something that's feeling dandy and good. And or maybe you were sad and you recorded something sad, and then you went back to it a week later, and you're like, oh, I was really sad on this, but I guess I'll finish it. Or I don't know.
Are there any notable artists that you look up to lyrically that you try to not be like, but like emanate in a sense of like their lyricism is incredible?
I think if a song is like good, I feel like you can kind of paste your life onto it and it'll be relatable. Because I feel like if you listen to a song that's relatable, then it kind of hits closer to home. So like if there's something where you can kind of like paste, like heartbreak, like everyone's gone through a nasty breakup or whatever. Like so if you have like a breakup song, like everyone can reminisce and resonate with that and relate to it. But like you know,
That's how the
I
emo
can't
phase
relate
starts.
to a trap song talking about holding a Glock and fucking robbing a bank because I'm some white kid from the suburbs. I've never done that. But like, talk about whatever, something that's relatable. I feel like I like that in lyricism. I feel like the Beatles, for example, like I feel like their music will be like timeless forever and surpass generations and centuries and be timeless forever because it's emotions, like or Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, like masterpiece. Like it talks about every human emotion that any human will face: time, fate, money, happiness. Just I think lyricism where it's like something that's relatable, that's like something I jive with or I fuck with. Like
that I never thought of that Pink Floyd album in that way. That it's just something like everything that everyone can relate to, because it really is.
yeah.
Just
That's
out of curiosity, John, what was your breakup song, I guess? If you can remember.
Trying to think if I have one.
I mean, would you consider
I guess the
Or
song,
a heartbreak song, I should say.
song again is kind of just like being led on by a girl. I've definitely been led on by chicks like multiple times in my life, and that's definitely happened to, I'm sure, every human. That's whether it's a female or male. But so I guess that would be like that vibe. I don't mind. I guess
I was waiting for you to say
I guess
it.
that could be like a breakup song too. That's kind of it's like taking from personal experience, but also just like not, and just like I don't know. Just, I don't know. Lyrics are really hard for me, so I'm always second guessing them, and then I just get to a point where I'm like, all right, fuck it, I'm just gonna say this, whatever.
Whatever happens, happens.
The lyrics I probably put the least amount of thought into, but at the same time the most amount of thought into, because it's just like there's so many songs I like where the lyrics are retarded, and I'm just like these. It doesn't even matter. It really doesn't. Like I don't know. Like I said, teetering between questioning everything you do, being confident in everything you do. It's like that.
Sure.
That's definitely the hardest part of recording, I feel like. But if you, at the end of the day, you just do it because you like to do it, and you don't know why you like to do it. You just get some sort of weird satisfaction out of it. Like I said, chasing the dragon, you just keep trying to, have fun.
Have you ever experienced people like, or like you said, like a girl leading you on, or a breakup song, like a ex or someone being like, "Is this about me?" Like
that actually did happen. That's probably gonna be super obvious to who this person is now if they're listening. But yeah, there was like a song. I think I even put on the Bandcamp description. It's like a song about moving on from like a past lover. And then my laptop just died. I'm gonna have to plug that in at some point.
Oop.
But yeah, I remember they like reached out to me and they're like, "Is this a song about me?" And I was like, "No, it's like nonfiction, but it's also, or no, that would mean it's true. It's fiction, but it's also taken from nonfiction. So it's like a little bit of realism versus non-realism."
Yeah, you gave like the perfect disclaimer earlier that sometimes it's nonfiction, because now you Now you're like able to like defend yourself from anyone thinking anything's about them. It's perfect. It's actually a good idea. Some of my music's nonfiction as well.
Yeah, I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
talking about it, you know? Like, oh, if this song's about this person, like, whatever.
Yeah, just take a page from Darius. Just hit the fuck it button.
Yeah, hit the fucking button.
Blast
Yeah,
off,
you
dude.
gotta get that. You gotta get, like, the little, have, like, Darius's dreads be the button. It's like his head, and the dreads are the button. And then you hit his head. He's like, fuck it.
So something that popped into my head for a minute, circling back a bit earlier, when you mentioned before that there are a lot of young indie musicians who think that, you know, oh, I can't really make music, or they think that they need a ton of like a big studio or expensive gear
Yeah,
to
that
record.
was me, for sure.
Yeah. What gear do you use? What do you
Ooh,
use? And like,
good
you know,
one.
So I use a Behringer 4-channel interface.
Shout outs to the wizard.
Jack has the same one.
I think I just heard whiz. Like, shout.
Actually, I think Jack's was gifted to him from Eric Finman,
I also gifted
where
him
we're
back
recording
money.
this right now. His house on Old Freehold Road. But yeah, so I use that interface. It's only 4 channels, so like with drums, I'm limited to 4 mics, 2 overheads, kick and snare. But that's also how John Bonham recorded his drums. Fun fact. Glenn John's technique. But I use that, and then I have this.
There he is again.
Keep hearing whiz. Just shout.
He's just like screaming down there.
And then I have a Golden Age Project pre-73 Junior interface or preamp, which is like kind of a clone of a Neve preamp. So like your interface has preamps in it, but they usually sound shitty. So it's like an external preamp. So I'll usually like DI bass or vocals or guitar or whatever through there. Or sometimes I'll just put my mic through it and record through my amp. Or it's different every time. And then I have like a Squier bass. I have a Squier Jazzmaster. I have a Sonar kit. Roland
I was about to say.
JX8P 80 synth. I feel like that's the secret sauce.
Talk about where the magic comes from. Where'd you get that? I know, but for the people who don't.
Facebook Marketplace. Of some guy that
sir.
didn't know its worth, and it was actually more money to service it because it's an analog synth, so you have to get it serviced every now and then. It was more money to service it than it was to buy it, so it was like $500 to service it, and I got it for like $360.
So, not including your instruments, like recording gear and stuff like that, like mics to mic up amps, cable stands, your computer interface, everything you need to record. How much money did it cost you? Roughly.
I never did the math. Let's see. My laptop was $800. My synth with the servicing was probably like $900.
Not even with the synth.
It was probably a couple $1,000s, maybe like $5,000 with everything.
5G, really.
Taking a guess, maybe $6,000.
And see, like,
I mean, saying like amp, guitars, cables, stands, mics, everything.
so like with
Probably
not
like
even
$5,000 around there.
exactly, and that's including everything. So like not even with that, like just anybody out there listening who is too scared to like record music or think they gotta drop a ton of money. All you need is a laptop, Scarlett Solo, a couple cables, some mics, and like just literally
true.
just like a couple $100.
Yeah,
And you can write, record, and release your very own music. Take it from Jonny Smith.
Yeah, mine's
Definitely.
probably.
I mean,
under
I-
$1,000. I just need the skills to use them.
yeah. You don't
What'd you
even have
say?
to get as carried away. You can have like
Yeah.
like you said, a 1-channel interface for $100, a laptop for. I mean, you can. A lot of my gear I got used, and that's definitely important because some gear it's not worth getting new. You know, if
Exactly.
you could get it multiple hundreds of dollars cheaper used, why wouldn't you? If it's still gonna produce the same effect, whether it's like a pedal or whatever, you know.
I think the land of milk and honey for fucking indie musicians is the Facebook Marketplace. Like you. Can
It
find
really
all
is.
that
Yeah,
and, like Reverb.
I need to browse that.
If it
more.
wasn't for Marketplace, I wouldn't probably have any of the gear I have because it's where I got 90% of it. And Reverb.
But people are
sure.
selling all kinds of stuff on the Facebook Marketplace.
Definitely.
Savage land.
Yeah. Speaking of gear, I noticed when you grabbed your charger off of it earlier, your paddleboard. You want to talk us through what is on your paddleboard?
Oh, what's your
Sure.
pedal chain, bro?
Okay, so it's a little
Flex.
discombobulated right now, but so I play through. It's like a Blues DeVille, like a 4x10, but it's modded to be a Fender Bassman. So it's there's no distortion on it. It's just 2 clean channels, and that's all.
That's rad.
That's all I really
I
want
like that
from an
clean
amp
shit.
is just like a clean signal, and then any other grit or dirt comes from the pedals. But I guess I'll run you through them now. So goes into my Boss tuner, goes into a Dunlop wah. It's like the one where you can adjust
The Crybaby?
It's not an OG Crybaby. It's like the one where you can actually adjust the range of the wah. I forget what it's called. It's like 535Q or something.
Yeah. The 535.
And then next going into a Dynacomp compressor. You want to get some nice clean tones, you put that on, you get some nice chicken picking. It's going into Boss Blues Driver, into a Fuzz Face Mini, into a... My pedals are kind of fucked up right now. It's hard to look at 'em. And then it goes into a phaser, small stone phaser. And then into a carbon copy analog delay. And then into a Holy Grail reverb.
Ooh. The Holy Grail is kind of nice.
8 pedals. And I usually put my synths through the pedals too sometimes.
And so down next to us here.
Oh yeah, that's why the pedals are discombobulated. So that's the vocal delay and the reverb. So
Let's give us a little.
little demo.
little demo.
Sound awesome.
Demo.
So, what do we have in front of us?
This is a microKORG, and it's just a little fuck around synth. And they're like a dime a dozen. They're really cheap.
How much? What'd you get that for? Where'd you get it?
Facebook Marketplace.
Told
Is that
you,
where
man.
most of your gear's from?
Everywhere, man.
A lot of it for sure. Yeah.
So, I have another question because we were talking about this a little bit earlier, and I feel like this would be fun to get some viewers commenting below. When it comes to bass strings, flat wound or round wound, just out of curiosity.
Flat boys.
I like both. More within the last year, I got more into flat wounds. But I mean, I'm not like love or hate it. I like both of them. But I guess if I had to pick one, I guess I would say flat wounds. You could judge me.
It's the right
I'm not
answer.
judging you. I'm not judging you, and it has nothing to do because I'm also the same way. If there's a tone that needs to be on a song and you're gonna grab some flat wounds for it, I will do it. I just
also-
don't like the way flat wounds feel.
I also palm mute a lot when I play bass.
Like, yeah, I mean that's
So I'll
the
get
fun.
like no sustain on the notes. It'll be like that thumpy, because I like that like 60s thumpy like Beatles bass sound. Like I mean,
right. So you're probably gonna grab yourself a P bass and throw some flat wounds on it. That's chill.
pretty
Something
much,
like
yeah.
that. But you have a Jag, you said, right?
Yeah, it's like a Jag body, but it's like a PJ bass. So it's like a P bass and a jazz bass combined. Like it's got the
It's got like the
it's
jazz,
got the P bass in the neck pickup, but then it's got the
the jazz, and the
jazz
bridge.
bass pickup in
I've
the
seen
bridge.
those,
Yeah, that's the both worlds.
So,
And it's short scale, so it's cheating.
So it's cheating.
Yeah, it's not the same.
so speaking of your bass and your gear, I remember. I think you told me I don't mind that the bass line was on the keyboard.
Yes.
Do you do that with a lot of songs, or is it mostly on the bass?
It's usually on a real bass. I feel like that song just had like a electronic vibe, and like some electronic songs just have ripping keyboard bass. Actually, wait, no, that song does have real bass in it.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, no, I think you might be thinking of a different song, maybe
I thought
potentially.
you might have told me. The
I
wrong
definitely
thing
have
then.
told you I play keyboard bass for a song. For the song I did, it was called "Is It Real?" I think.
Maybe it was
That I use keyboard bass for. I've definitely used keyboard bass strictly for a song, but
Mhm.
it's all the vibe. It's whatever it needs, you know.
Have you ever like made two different bass lines and had keyboard bass for one and real bass for another?
Yes, I've also done that with drums, where I have real drums and electronic drums going on simultaneously.
That's so cool. There's this one
Like
song.
I for a song I haven't put out yet that I might play at some point.
Is that the one you showed me?
Yeah.
I
Like
think
that
it's
song, for
sexy.
instance, like I used one mic on the drums, just one overhead, and I recorded the drums. But then I also have electronic drums playing with that. So it's like, yeah.
I always love when
I don't know. I like
happens.
fucking around, experimenting a little bit.
So when I think I know the answer to this, but I feel like it might be a good, maybe little inspirational bit for anyone who creates music out there or is wanting to. When you are creating a song, like, do you ever have any worry about, like, if you think people will like it? Or, because, like, your sound is it's not like vanilla, like, kind of thing. It's like spicy, like, like it's got some grit to it. Like, were you ever like, I don't know if I want to make it sound like this because it might not be as appealing to the biggest audience if they don't understand it? Or are you just strictly like, I want to make, like, I want my sound, like, I don't care if anyone says anything negative about it, really?
It's more so, yeah, the latter, the last thing you said.
Yeah.
It's more so that, yeah.
How important do you think that is to, like, stay true to yourself in your music? Like,
I think if I mean, at the end of the day, you're your own worst critic, and I'm pretty critical on myself sometimes. Like, I don't listen to my own music. Like, after I listen to the like, I'll mix it, I'll record it, I'll mix it, and then I'll send it to my buddy Mike Rockland, and he'll master it. And after that, after I listen to the master, and I'm like okay with it, then I won't listen to it again because it's just,
that's a shame.
it's cringy. I can't listen to my own stuff, but yeah, like, I don't know.
That's something we've talked to a few people about, and I feel like somewhere every musician varies is, like, listening to their own music.
I think if I'm, like, somewhat okay with it, because at the end of the day, I'm never going to be 100% satisfied with it. And, like, that's something I just accept off the rip.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have never put out music because
Mhm.
I'm not satisfied with it. But,
Yeah.
like, I guess if I'm, like, somewhat okay with it, then I'll be like, okay, yeah. Like, I don't actually think, like, oh, will someone like this? Because I really don't care, because I kind of just do it for my own pleasure anyway.
It's the best way to do
I
it,
don't
I think.
care if people like it.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
That's what I was.
But I mean, if
that's what I
people
was
do
thinking
like
you
it,
were
that's
gonna say.
great. That's awesome. But if they don't, that's also awesome too.
Yeah.
You know, I don't recall if I've mentioned this or brought this up on the podcast before, but that's like a conundrum that I think about a lot, like all the time, because as a musician, you're an artist, and art is for the artist. Like, we make art because it makes us happy, and that's the only reason why we should make it, in a perfect world.
Mm-hmm.
But as musicians, we're also performers. So we perform, and the performance is for other people. And to be like, and I'm going to use this term loosely, a successful, quote unquote, musician,
Yeah.
people will listen to your music and what you put out and like it and support you on it, or, be fans, so to speak, or whatever. But there's that weird paradox that starts to happen. Is it like, am I gonna make music because I like it, or am I gonna make music because other people like it? And do I want to make music because I like making music, or do I want to make music because I want to make music for the rest of my life? And to do that, I have to be a successful musician. And like, through that weird, like, loop of mindsets,
Rabbit hole.
I feel like that's the reason why a lot of musicians have identity issues, or like they go through identity crisis. Is that something that you've experienced, or at least have an opinion on at all?
Like identity crisis?
Or just that whole thing, just in general, or the fight between making art for yourself or making music for other people.
Yeah, like I feel like at the end of the day, you do something because it makes you happy. So if, like, recording music makes me happy, then I'm probably gonna do it. If people like it, that's cool. But, like, when I record music, it's not like I'm, like, recording tracks and I'm like, all right, so and so is gonna love this. Like, but also there is times like that where I'm like, I do record music and I know it's a certain type of vibe, and like, I'm like, oh, maybe so and so will like this, but it's not like I'm recording it trying to get so and so to like it. It's just turns out that way or something. I don't know.
But then there's also like some kind of essence of, people that you look up to, and like not even just like, older people or like your parents or like idols, but just like your friends, your peers, like people whose opinions you respect. And like,
Yeah, because I mean, everyone wants their friends to, appreciate and respect them.
Yeah,
And I have really good friends, and all my friends I love, and they're all amazing people.
I love you, Jonny Smith.
Johnny Smith and Jack just tabbed out. But like even like Method Man from Wu-Tang, he said told a story once, or he was just talking about like I got into Wu-Tang or whatever, and he was like, I don't care what anybody else thinks in the world, as long as like I write stuff that my dudes think is dope, then I know I wrote something dope. And like I thought that was interesting. It's
That
just
is
kind
an
of
interesting concept.
I think Zombie Juice said, "If you don't like my music, I hope you fucking die."
who?
From Flatbush.
Oh,
Juice, I think. Yeah, on the
that's
Vacation
incredible.
to Hell mixtape. But I don't know if there was a little.
I mean,
more
hey,
behind
like
that.
everyone has their own different way to strut about.
That's one way to think about it. The one extreme. I think to add a little bit to your answer from my own perspective, I feel like for me, I had an interesting experience with when I first like learned that I wanted to start music. It was like at a festival, and like the feeling that someone gave me to just forget everything that was happening around me and like in my life and stuff, and just like be in that moment for like an hour, like that's something so powerful. So for me, a big inspiration initially was wanting to do that for other people and like inspire other people to also want to do that. But at the same point, it's like, well, if I don't get there, at least I'm doing something that I'm enjoying.
Right.
I like that a lot.
I think that was kind of a reason that I initially didn't like. I kind of took like a year. Like I started and took like a year off and didn't get too into it. It was because I was like, my vision was clouded with like wanting so badly to like inspire other people, but not wanting to do the middle part or like the beginning part.
Yeah.
And I was just like feeling like it was never gonna happen. But then I got to the point where it was like, okay, now I just want to play music with my friends and like have a good time. And maybe one day I'll get to do the rest of it. But if I don't, this is good enough.
Well, you're already doing it.
Yeah.
Man.
By doing that.
By the
Yeah.
three of us jamming, you're just doing that.
Exactly.
Did you have one of those moments, Johnny, where you was like, this is it? Like you had that realization. That's not.
Yeah, I mean, I guess seeing like a live show and just seeing how powerful a live show can be, that was definitely probably.
Was it a specific show or what was your first show?
There
There you go.
Oh, that's a good question.
So
First
first
concert.
show was Tom Driver Fest. I forget the year. It was Collective Soul, Avril Lavigne, and what the fuck, Chris Daughtry, American Idol guy.
Oh,
so
shit.
whenever that dude won American Idol, that's like the year it was. So
Jeez. That's
I
quite the
can't remember
lineup
the year,
there.
but I remember he threw his picks, and I got a couple of his picks.
Oh.
And I ended up losing
Ooh.
them, but I did play Chris Daughtry picks at some point when I was younger.
Ah.
I'm going home.
So was it that concert that you were like,
Chris
oh,
Daughtry
like-
changed my life after
Really?
that night. No.
Oh, I was gonna say.
No.
I feel like when I think of Chris Daughtry, what's that one band that everyone shits on? Like,
Nickelback.
yeah,
Yep,
I feel like I
I like how you
I
associate.
didn't even have to breathe. I already knew.
I like how you knew exactly what band he was talking about.
Nickelback.
I associate Daughtry with Nickelback. I think
I agree.
like
They should do a they should do a show
they
together.
should do a project together. You should just join them.
Daughtry is the new lead singer of Nickelback.
Shit, I wouldn't be
Um,
surprised.
I remember going to that show, and that was interesting. I sat down the entire time Avril Lavigne played. I remember I was like, nah, fuck this girl.
Did it make
Fuck
you
this
move?
Canadian. But
She got some tunes.
I guess not really.
She had a good voice, at least. You know?
She
Gator
put
boy.
sounds together.
Boy. Said see you later, boy. She wasn't good enough for her.
So, but what about it? Because of that lineup or that kind of music,
Well,
that you might not be. What about that made you like want?
He was that's my first show.
Oh.
But like, I mean, definitely there was a time. I can't remember which show it was, but there was definitely a time where I like saw a live show, saw how moved everyone was from the performance, and was just like, damn, that's so crazy how just like these 3 or 4 people playing, I can just make the hundreds or thousands of people in this room all feel the same feelings and emotions simultaneously. It's almost like religious at that point. It's almost like
It's like a
It's
cult.
like church.
Yeah. It's like
That's what
going to
Hendrix
church.
used to call it. He would say it's an electric church. That was what his like jamming was like, and like, it's so cool because like you leave a show, and you get that like post-show depression. Like you're like, oh my god,
Post-festival depression
that
is
night-
like that on
that
steroids.
night or those couple nights or whatever, they were so good, and like, damn, now I'm back to reality, and
Yeah.
nothing
Everything sucks.
nothing is gonna top the emotions I just felt. But you still have them, and you cherish
Those
them.
memories.
But yeah, live performances are every musician's grounded right now, man. With COVID, you know. I mean, you could do
shackled on our
the
ankles.
podcast
Live
stream vibe of a show,
stream.
but
It's coming
personal interactions through music, that's timeless.
soon. That's what we're here for now.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're trying to bring to you people at home.
I remember it was crazy. I think because before I took music seriously, it was kind of like a hobby thing, like something I just did. And for my very first like serious, I use that term kind of loosely, but the first serious band I joined up, my homie hit me up and he was just like, you know, we wrote a couple songs, we needed a bassist, blah blah blah, whatever. And I rolled up, and then they were like, oh, we're going to do our first show, like after just jamming a couple times, after we all like got tight and like learned these songs. And it was my first live show, like the first show I played in front of people that I didn't know, like in a real set that wasn't like a talent show at school or anything. And we just kind of like went, I think we killed it, but I thought at that point I was just like, oh, I'm just doing a favor for like a friend like who's trying to start a band. And some dudes came up to me, was like, bro, you can like really play the bass. And I was like, oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. And I was like, this guy kind of like blushed. I was like,
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit.
The first time you get a compliment.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
just kinda
I'm really
inflates your
bad. I'm
ego.
really bad at. I guess I'm not bad at taking compliments, but
You're just very modest.
Yeah, I like to think so. I try to stay modest because that's the only way to get better. I mean, you can't just be like, yeah, dude, I'm so fucking good. I'll never get any better because I'm already amazing. Like it's just like you know I don't know.
You know what's incredible?
There's always something to learn.
What's really incredible? I won't name any names or name a band or anything like that, but the
Nickelback.
the very first show that I played with
Nickelback.
a band, just in general, one of the members of I don't know if the mic is here.
Daughtry.
One of the members of a band, like,
Nickelback.
was incredibly young and got super emotional, like, after a show. And it was in front of, like, 10 people or whatever.
What do you
But,
mean?
like, after the show,
like on stage or
No,
like,
no, not
or
on
like
stage, but, like, after the show. It was, like,
emotional,
way
like
after.
cry.
But, no, just, like, overwhelmed at the idea of performing music in front of
Yeah.
people. And that person that I, like, came to
It's hard.
Yeah, I'll probably throw up.
that person came to the conclusion, like, I have to do this for my life. Like, it was very fascinating, like, thing to experience or just be a bystander.
Was
of.
that like their first compliment? You think, or was it, or their
No, like it wasn't even anything specific. It was just the playing
overall
yeah.
joy of just giving that performance? And
Yeah, and it wasn't even that person's first performance either. Technically, it was, but there was I don't know what it was, but it was just
dude, I was playing a show and I'm playing a game of catch with the vibes and the audience.
What the hell are you talking about?
My first compliment was recently. Well, like, so as far as like thinking that you're good or whatever, my like thing is like I am in quotes good enough to make people who are worse than me think that I'm good. So
I also
say that
like
again?
that a lot. He's good enough to make
I-
people he thinks that are not as good as him think he's better than them.
no, wait.
He thinks
Wait,
that
wait,
or not. Wait,
let
what?
Let me just say it again. So I am, in quotes, good enough to make people who are worse than me or don't play at all think that I'm good. People who have no idea what I'm doing are like, oh, wow. Like,
Oh,
so
I think I know what you mean.
Yeah,
Like
I
a
was.
little kid sees Jack playing piano and like, oh my god, this dude is amazing.
Yeah, like little kids.
Oh, I see.
Little kids when, at somewhere seeing me play piano, like being like, whoa. But so I was on FaceTime with my like whole family on Christmas, and I think I told this story already. I don't know, but I'll tell it again.
I don't think you did.
Because it's amazing.
Please enlighten us.
And so my cousin had been playing piano like his whole life pretty much, and is like this absolutely incredible musician. And so they thought that he was going to play piano like for us on Christmas, and he said like, oh no, I can't, like someone else is like at the piano bench or whatever, so like I can't. And they didn't, like someone didn't hear that, and then I started playing piano, and my aunt was like, oh my god, Ryan, that was so good. And I was like, what? Like, you confused me for him? Like, what? And so it's like that idea of like, she has no idea what I'm doing, so it's good.
She was drunk.
But yeah, so like the other really weird thing is like,
You're not as good as you think you are, Jack.
oh no, I know
I'm
I'm like complete hot garbage.
No, Jack's actually
But
Jack's
made
got
a
something
I'm making progress.
No, dude,
That's
no,
all-
dude.
that's
You,
what I
you
can
the
say.
progress you've made on piano in such this short amount of time is actually
Yeah.
very
You have
inspiring.
something a lot of
dude.
people
It's
don't
really
have,
great.
and that's called soul.
Yeah.
I'd say motivation, dude.
Yeah,
you're
motivation.
incredibly motivated. at the
I
piano.
just want to play
You've
with
made
my
a lot of
friends.
progress in
I
a very
literally
short
just
amount of time.
want to not be the weight that you guys are dragging around when we're playing.
You
together.
weren't, dude. Like I said, we were jamming. We jammed a couple times, and I didn't feel that way about you.
Yeah,
Just like-
I
You
mean,
held
I
it- you
wish
held it
I
down.
need
You
to get
held
to
a
the
groove.
point where I feel like I am holding it down like that. Like I could.
You'll never
I
feel
just-
that.
I need to get better, but
Yeah,
Anyway.
I'm gonna tell you, you're never gonna feel that ever.
yeah, I don't know.
There was that one time we were jamming with Armin, and like Armin looked at me and he was like, "Dude, you were ripping." And the first thing that came to my head was like, "He's lying to me," because
Armin
that's
don't
just,
lie.
but
Yeah,
like,
that happened to me with Armin before.
but
Yeah.
and it wasn't geared
'Cause-
specifically towards him. You feel that with everyone. Like as
Yeah.
the deeper down the rabbit hole you get, you will never feel satisfied with yourself ever.
Yeah, no, and that's what keeps you going. You know,
I-
like I talk to buddies that are working, incredible studios, like beautiful professional studios, and they still feel the same way I feel, and it makes me feel sane. And
Yeah,
it makes me feel a little bit like, okay, I guess everyone feels like that. Even if you're a master of your craft, you still have self-doubt.
it's something we have to ask Cody about. No last name given. Dropping hints.
Oh,
Nothing.
Jack.
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But yeah, it's incredible to me that you guys think that, because I hear you guys play and I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna put these down. It's either
And
either
then
I want
see
to.
someone play, and I say I'm gonna put this down.
Yeah.
and it's just a
It's like what
endless
endless cycle of self doubt, and
yes.
we gotta.
and that's,
gotta work
that's
on
what keeps
that.
you in check.
Yeah,
And
for
it's good-
sure.
It's good to stay in check.
I really badly want to, like, when I travel, because eventually when the world like puts itself back together again, and I want to do this like a little travel.
You don't
route.
get vacation. Sorry.
Oh, on the podcast.
Yeah, no,
Oh shit.
Sorry.
I want to like do this trip around the world, but like I want to go to a country
That was good.
and I want to jam with musicians whom I cannot communicate with. I want to jam in a room of musicians whose language I don't speak and they don't speak mine.
Well,
Yo,
it
we
doesn't
should-
matter.
We could do that as a business write-off.
What?
We could do that as a business write-off.
A business write-off.
Yeah, we could. We could.
We're going to
do, we
Cabo
could do
Wabo. We got a little
podcast
business
episodes of that, and it'll just be a business write-off.
There are so many things that I can say right now that make like that not make sense, but I can't. I'm like, it's just can't.
It's a business expense.
But we don't answer any. But I'm not even gonna. Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
sure,
you're right.
whatever.
Actually,
It's just me.
tax write-off.
It's literally just me and you. I don't know.
Tax
you're
write-off.
right. Yeah, tax write-off. It's a tax write-off then.
We pay our taxes here on Flex only.
So anyway,
Fuck.
I feel like another thing, like I don't know why I've experienced this, but people like wanting to like start projects or like play music with me, and I'm like what? Like, do you guys experience that when people like are asking to collaborate with you, or like why would you want to?
I've only ever been asked once,
Mm-hmm.
and it was that very, very, very first band I've been in, and then
What was the initial feeling? Sorry to cut you off. But what was the initial feeling like when they asked?
Literally, I was the only. At the time, I was like, yeah, I'm the only bassist.
Yeah, okay.
Kinda, and like they just hit me up, but but then later I found out that there was other people who played bass. But I was best friends with the guys who called me, so I was like, yeah, no, they just need a favor, and they were like, oh, I think Joe plays bass, so they just like called me, I think. But that was it. That was the only time I've ever been asked to Oh, that's not true at all. Actually, I started another band, or I was a part of this other band. Oh no, that was actually an amazing moment. There was this other band that I was a part of. I'm gonna say fuck it. I'm gonna say Rot. It was a band called Rot, and I was asked to be the bassist or come jam with it, and I was like, kind of friends, or like I knew this singer for a little while. I haven't spoken to them in a long time, but then we like kind of reconnected. But the other two members of the band, were total strangers, and I was not used. At that point, I'd never jammed or played music with people I didn't know as friends ever.
That's a big thing, I feel, is jamming with strangers versus homies. That's
exactly
huge.
It's
vibe.
huge, and I had
Huge
never done that before ever, and I was fucking nervous. But when they came up to me, I was like, yeah, dude, let's jam. I'll jam, whatever. But I was actually like dying inside. And then I get there at our first jam sesh, and I had this realization that I was speaking their language. Like we were talking back and forth about like kind of theoretically like
nice
chords and stuff like
conversation.
that. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was like, and like
you get it, like I get it.
and the guitarist was like, oh yeah, dude, like you get it. And I was like, I got this.
I get it.
I get it, dude.
I
So
can't
it
wait
was
for
pretty
that.
cool.
You're already there, Joe.
But
yeah,
that
okay.
was. What was the question?
How you feel when someone asks you
Oh,
to collaborate.
Bottom
with them.
line, it's great. It's
yeah, I
amazing.
mean it's amazing, but like,
it's
at
only
the
ever
same
happened to me
time, it's
once,
like,
technically.
for me, I'm like, okay, if you want me to.
It's happened to me when I've sent people my music. And they're like,
Yeah.
Let me do this on this.
That's impressive.
Or let me do this on this. And I was like, no, that's not what I wanted. I just wanted your criticism. I didn't want to collab.
When
However,
I mean, it's still flattering.
I feel like it's
obviously.
nature of my instrument to not be asked to collaborate unless you're like a god tier bassist. Then no one's gonna ask you to collaborate, because even someone who has never picked up a bass before in their life, they'll be like, yeah, I'll just throw a bass line on this real quick. Like they'll just pick it up.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's the reason why I've never been asked to collab on shit. But that might also just be my ego making an excuse for me. I think I might not just be a good musician.
It's an interesting way to look at it.
Maybe for me, the reason people are asking me is because I'm the only motherfucker who plays piano.
That's also true. Not a lot of people play piano
it's
anymore.
a very niche. I could sneak my way in. Shout outs to my teacher, Armin.
Armin, get better.
Oh yeah, Armin.
Quarantine.
Quarantine
Makes
better.
him.
He's
Inspo.
probably making some
Inspo.
shit.
I met him pretty recently, but he's actually a big influence.
Inspo.
Yeah, now
I'd say like as far as
he gets
people,
he gets like a childlike sense of endearment of music.
dude.
Like I
The
see it,
smile.
I see it in his eyes. You know, his eyes light up,
Mm-hmm.
and he he recorded something in his studio, and then I recorded the bass line, and he was like tripping on the bass line. He was like, "Dude, I didn't know the bass line could like bring the song together," and he was just like hyped me up, and I was like, I was like feeding off of him, you know, like I was started getting hyped, and I was like,
Dude,
oh my god, and then here we are, just two people hyped on making music together, and it's the ultimate best feeling ever when you're just like so in love with the moment of just creating and like just being like, no, what if we do this, and like yes, like, you feed off of that.
Yeah, see, that was what I was talking about before with the. I'm sorry, did I cut you off?
No.
That's what I was talking about before about being in a band versus being a solo artist. There's like an electricity.
That's the
There's
thing.
Like a
it's like
friction
so
in the
if
room.
I'm by myself, the only person I'm feeding off is my own negative thoughts, and I'm like, oh, this fucking
exactly.
sucks. You are a piece of shit.
Like, there's a crazy friction that happens in the room. Like the atmosphere gets thin, and we all fucking like just bug out over one thing, and it just keeps snowballing. And
Yeah,
it's
I've definitely
really sick.
gotten obsessive, but then I get obsessive, then I'm like, all right, I don't give a fuck anymore. And then I've definitely put out music where I'm like, oh, that vocal's a little flat. Oh, that bass could have been, yeah. And then
Yeah, whatever.
yeah, whatever. And that's how you get better, though. It's you just keep outdoing yourself until, you know, hopefully 5 years from now I have a sense of what I'm doing and it sounds good or something. I don't know.
Before we get too far from it, I just quickly wanted to say that, well, 2 of the people are in this house, but as far as like Armin's at the top of the list. No offense. As far as inspiration, just because he's my teacher, and so
None taken.
I spend the most amount of time with him. But probably Armin, you, and like Eric and Andrew, because like Eric and Andrew were like my first like really good friends that I saw playing, and like seeing them up there and also seeing them just like as regular people just like me. It was
That's,
like
that's the thing. It's like there's some stigma
Yeah.
with the rock star that's elusive, and he gets all the ladies, and he's a badass, and he fucking whatever. And then it's just like you realize that's all smoke and mirrors, and all those people are dweebs. And like fucking shout out
Wannabes.
Vince Neil, Molly Crew. Wow. Yeah. But yeah, no, I don't know. When you see a musician and they're like human, and you resonate with that, it's like it's cool because it's like, yeah, we are just all human, whether you're a celebrity or not. You put your pants on one leg at a time. You're all fucking human, you know.
Yeah.
It's just like I think the whole idea of like the whole cool guy rock star thing is like so fucking lame that it's just like
Dumb.
Yeah.
It is dumb.
That idea of like almost. I mean, I feel like you get that when you go to like a show though, kind of like because they're up on stage and you're down there below them, looking at them. You know.
That's all tech magic.
Yeah, but think about it. Those people are paying your bills, and you're fucking performing your own music to them
Yeah.
and making a living off of it. At that point, how much more blessed can you get?
Oh yeah.
It's
I
like
mean,
you're literally at the fucking top of the totem pole. That's literally the dream. That's what people strive for. And then people get there and they like whine about it.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me?
What?
Like, oh, I have fads. I don't know.
You know what, like, weird conundrum I had?
I'm sure it's weird to be famous.
The first time I went and ever saw Brockhampton live was weird. It's like I was a huge fan, but like, and I saw them when they first came out on stage and I started playing their first song. I saw them in Philly. It was at the Fillmore, and I was like, yo, and like, it was like this Brockhampton right in front of me. But then I realized like these guys are my age, and then like if they felt like rock stars, but they also felt like my peers at the same time. Even though I don't know them.
These are people I could probably smoke a joint with and hang out with.
Yeah,
and
exactly, and that was weird.
Like,
I was like, it was inspiring, is what it was.
Yeah, because
it was a crazy situation.
You like idolize people, and they say never meet your idols, never meet your heroes, but sometimes you meet them and they're kind of normal, like-minded people, and you're like, oh, just a normal guy that makes music that I happen to like, and they're famous, and you know, it's like you put it in perspective, and it's like it's really, we're all just human. We're all just human at the end of the day.
Yeah, you've had that experience with you met the Giz guys, right?
I met the Kids guys. I met Mac
else?
DeMarco. I've met a couple of my idols, and they were all super humble and down to earth, and it just humbles you because you're just like, oh, like you look at these people and you put them on a pedestal, and you're like, why would I even put them on a pedestal? They're just like me.
Yeah.
They just happen to be famous.
And have, like put more
It's
time.
just a fucking human being. Like it's just like, oh, Jack's here right now. It's like, oh, this person's here. Like they just happen to be famous, but they're just a fucking normal person, just like you and me and Joe and Eric and Casey and everyone.
If there was one person that you can jam with for like a couple hours, like just have a chop session with, who would it be?
Zappa.
Does it matter the instrument or
No, like literally just fucking circulate,
Alive
like
or
free
dead?
for all.
probably?
No, alive. I just want to do alive.
Okay,
Because you can
alive and
say
then
like
dead.
some kind of legend that's dead, but like someone who's alive right now.
Oh wait, they have to be alive.
Yeah, just because only the reason I say that is because like you can say like a legend, like that anyone would say that.
They have to be alive though. They can't be dead.
Yeah.
We'll do dead next because
Yeah, we'll do dead next,
That's
just
the
'cause
more
I'm
interesting question.
Sure.
I'm kidding.
No, we can. Okay.
Maybe maybe like Kevin Parker from Tame Impala. That would be cool to, or not even jam, just be in the same room with. And talk about
What about
production
what
or
about
like
Dead?
Dead. If are you talking about the Grateful Dead? I mean, it would be cool to jam with Jerry Garcia. That would be awesome. I would love to jam with Jerry Garcia. I'd love to jam with Jimi Hendrix. I'd love to play music for Jim Morrison. I don't know. Any of those legendary
I
bands.
feel like being in a
like-
room with Prince would be really cool for like an hour or two.
I feel like
You know
it'd
he
be
was
weird.
5'2".
Really?
Did you not know that?
I thought-
he
no,
was
I-
literally
I
he's literally
think
like 5'1".
If you asked me how
5'2".
tall I thought he was, I'd
Michael
say
Jackson.
like 5'8" or something.
Michael Jackson. That would be really cool to
Yeah.
like be in the same room with. When you say jam, though,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Mitch Mitchell from the Jimi Hendrix Experience on drums. That would be dope
Ooh.
to like play guitar with him playing drums. That would be probably dream sesh right there. Or like Buddy Rich, even though I wouldn't be able to keep up.
Buddy Rich would probably yell and scream and throw things at you.
I would love it.
It'd be
I would
worth
love
every
it
second.
every second.
Buddy Rich would probably like hurl a fucking kick drum at you if you played a note out of place.
I would wish for that.
So we've been going for a while. We want to do some music. I have 2 quick things, Joe, if you have anything else. You
I
wanna-
pretty much asked what I wanted
Yeah.
to ask, talk about
Okay.
all kinds of good stuff.
So, as far as your songs, are there any that like really stand out to you personally, like lyric wise? Like, do you have like favorite lyrics that you've written, or like favorite guitar riffs, or favorite like bass lines, synth placements?
Not really.
Nah, you just love it all.
No, I don't like any of it. I feel like
It's also good though.
I don't
Nothing like
I guess
stands
I
out
guess
as a
I like
favorite.
I like the bass in the track Seclusion Illusion, maybe. I guess
Yeah.
maybe I like the bass in that or something. I don't know.
Okay,
It's
fair
weird
enough.
to be like, oh, like would I like my own stuff?
Yeah, I feel that.
I can't think of anything at the moment. I'm sure something will come to me later, maybe, but
Mm-hmm.
not really. I never really even like think about this
No,
kind
don't
of
think
stuff.
about
so
that
it's,
stuff.
it's very hard to
That's fair.
on the fly think like, oh, what is it? I don't know. I guess I would say that bass line or something maybe.
So, your music is, I guess you could say, somewhat psychedelic, right?
Sure.
I like to ask on the podcast. I like to break down the barriers of stigma. Any experience with the psychedelic pathway
Narcotics.
Yeah.
that you'd like to talk about?
And this is where I step away. 'Cause I have no experience whatsoever.
Sorry, Joe.
No, it's fine.
I'll dose you one day.
Uh,
Just totally kidding. That happened to me one time. Totally
I've
kidding.
Holy shit.
dabbled
Yeah.
and had good experiences.
When did you start? Or is that not something you want to disclose?
I don't care. I'd say like when I was 20, maybe.
Okay. Do you
20.
feel like you were ready at the time?
Maybe not, but it worked out, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't take back any experience because it made me who I am today.
That is the way to see it. I love that.
Yeah.
What if, but hypothetically, like, what if that was a bad experience? Then you probably not have the same outcome.
I have had like one significant bad trip
That's it.
that, but it was just this. It was the time and place and where I was at,
Set
like,
and setting.
and what was going on at the time that made that trip that way. I mean, I guess if I had a bad trip, then I probably wouldn't have done it as many times as I've done it. I've dabbled several dozen times.
So was the first time mushrooms?
First time was acid. Yeah. And that,
Interesting.
I took it with this chick.
Did she get it or did you get it?
I got it.
You got it?
I got
Some
it.
like sketchy shit?
No, it
or-
was actually really good stuff.
Yeah.
This is old, like, dude I used to work with that was like a collector of the psychedelic realm. And he yeah, no, it was everything you would expect and then some. It was great.
All right. If there's anything else you want to talk about, you want to say,
I love you.
I love you more. Don't argue me with that. So that's somewhat of a wrap. Johnny, do you want to give your plugs, your
Social media
Spotify,
plugs.
Instagram,
Yep.
Apple Music,
Where can
Bandcamp,
people find you and find your
MySpace.
music?
Pornhub account? I
It's
don't know.
on
OnlyFans.
most streaming services.
Under what name?
Jonny Smith with no H. Jonny.
Before we end, that was actually something that I've been meaning to ask you. Was there much thought behind using your name, or was it
No.
just like I'm Johnny
You have
Smith, so it's
you
gonna
have
be
a
Johnny
sick
Smith?
name already.
Ze-
You
zero,
already have
like-
a stage name,
Zero
Jonny
th-
Smith.
Zero thought. I think the opposite. I think my name sounds so common and terrible. But
I think it's like common, but like amazing.
it was.
you know?
I was either gonna go
'Cause,
under a
like-
band name alias, so I could just call myself whatever,
Mhm.
some band name, or I could just go by my actual name. So I guess I just decided to go with my actual name.
Gotcha. Do you consider doing different kinds of projects under different aliases, or would you just do different albums like with different themes like King Giz does kind of?
Probably different albums, but also I wouldn't be opposed to doing something under a different name.
Mhm.
And maybe people wouldn't even know it was me or
Yeah,
something.
that's something that
I
I-
always thought that was cool.
That's something that I want to do. Is like have a bunch of different projects that like no one's gonna know about, but like have like main stuff
Yeah.
that no one's probably gonna know about.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Pro choice, you go, girl.